So for question number two, I think, what is the role of embodiment in religious practices and beliefs? Uh, this is a really good question, and I struggled with it. But just to give you little bits and pieces of the answer, I think religion and the Adventist community, Catholicism, they all have these rituals and practices and traditions that have to do with the body, and they seem old, and some of them seem senseless or archaic or weird. Communion, foot washing, sacrament, Hail Mary, spiritual prayers. And yet these rituals and practices, they all affirm the body as part of a greater social body, which is religious. And if we think of religion as this collective agreement on how parts of the world operate or fit together, a key part of that structure is collectivity. It's a collective agreement. It's a social body agreeing to these beliefs about the world and then acting out in ways that affirm that perception, or that would demand their behavior to be in a certain way because of that perception, if that makes sense. And so all of that, all of those rituals and traditions and meeting and gatherings happen through the body. And so in that sense, the body is a way to explain a commitment to a certain sense of reality and one's place in relation to it. And so as part of an aware, observant community, the self is under an incentive to, and this sounds really pretentious, but try to simplify it, to modulate its impulses and desires to best serve it in the community's interest. So just to put it simply, for example, I tend to trust my gut instinct on what is right and wrong when in a situation because at a very young age, I grew up, and probably most of you grew up in a community where you knew what was right and wrong, and you were taught what was right and wrong as part of a religious community, and then your body started to act as its own policeman in some sense, and you could go into Foucault and structures of power with that based on what we talked about this quarter, but your body starts to embody the beliefs that you have been taught orally and then taught through the bodies of other people in your religious community. And so I think embodiment is hugely important, and that it helps me to understand why being part of a religious community is important, and why a self in contact with a spiritual body, like a self in contact with an Adventist community, learns what is right and wrong on an intellectual level. But then seeing that ethic played out or practiced over time in a social body, whether that be through eating cheeseless haystacks or volunteering with ADRA, helps to preserve the belief on a bodily level. So, does that make sense? I guess I won't know if it does because I'm in Australia, but hopefully that makes sense.